So he knows exactly how important it is to win here, and he's going to try to avoid it, the fate he suffered last season right now.
Yeah, hopefully for him that he thinks that these Jellicent and Metagross leads will be what it takes to do that up against the Kangaskhan and Thundurus from Michael. Of course, Michael, Kangaskhan, we saw it leading a lot last year, in the back a lot more this year, but when it's a lead, it just exerts so much pressure instantly. But Jellicent doing a great job of countering that. Michael making the adjustment, though, bringing the Thundurus.
Yeah, we've got an interesting matchup here. I mean, Kangaskhan afraid of Jellicent, but Jellicent afraid of Thundurus, so you've got to get the circle going around here. The trouble with that is that Metagross isn't involved, so I think it's going to be important for Michael not to just cough up a free substitute here, but also dangerous to try to do that in front of a Thundurus and risk getting Thunder Waved.
Yeah, the Mega Evolution from both Megas on each people's team. Mega Metagross for Zach and Mega Kangaskhan for Michael. Right at the start, Metagross going for the Protect. Doesn't want to take a Fake Out or any return damage. We already saw return can actually break Zach's sub. Metagross will be protected from that attack. Taunt coming out from Thundurus onto Jellicent. No Will-O-Wisp, no Recover too. Taunt, we've seen that Zach doesn't favor an offensive Jellicent, so Taunt really shutting that down.
Yeah, I think it's pretty likely that Zach wasn't expecting that taunt. I mean, it's a good chance that he was expecting Fake Out Thunder Wave there, having protected Metagross.
Right.
But I can see the way, we hadn't seen Taunt yet this series. It's very possible he didn't know Michael had it at all. Yeah. I think that's one thing that's really great management of a best of three is when you can still pull out something your opponent doesn't know is there in game 3. Especially now, he has great board control because of that. Jellicent not very threatening anymore. It really improves his position for him. It's going to make things tough for Zach to come back from.
Yeah, it forces Metagross to switch out in favor of Thundurus, while Kangaskhan switches out from Michael's side as well in favor of that Aegislash. Going to put instant pressure on Jellicent. Instantly pressures Jellicent out of the field in favor of Landorus, who will then get an Intimidate off on both of these special attacking Pokemon. But Landorus, not a bad matchup against Thundurus and Aegislash to begin with. The Thunder Wave coming out, good switch from Zach. His own Thundurus immune to the Thunder Wave.
Yeah, pretty clever play there since he had 2 Thunder Wave immune Pokemon in the back to switch them both in. I knew you're probably going to get a switch and a Thunder Wave there, so he's managed to survive that poor turn 1 there, and it's in safe position again.
Yeah. Both of these players playing very cagey, too. We haven't had any damage dealt yet after turn 2.
And they're both trying to get good position first, and I think that's very important. It's a third game. Both sides are playing this pretty conservatively. They don't want to open themselves up to unnecessary risk, so they're just trying to make sure they stay in safe positions and they can keep controlling the game. Nobody wants to try to make one of those really bold reads we might have seen on day 1 where there's going for the game on turn 1. At this point, you want to try to make sure you're doing this as safely as possible.
Speaking of safe, Michael uses Wide Guard, trying to protect his Thundurus from any kind of rock slides and itself from earthquakes. Rock Slide comes out into the Wide Guard, taunt onto Zach's Thundurus, but will be able to just go on the offense, Thunderbolt onto Michael's Thundurus, dealing some decent amount of damage, but making sure that there will be no Thunder Waves and no Swaggers.
Yeah, I think that was a great play by Michael, even though it looks like he lost on damage there. It's all about keeping control. Now he doesn't have to worry about Swagger coming out on Aegislash. He knows that Landorus is locked into Rock Slide, so Aegislash is actually pretty safe here. And it's pretty likely we'll see Thundurus switch out now to something that can help him absorb that Rock Slide fairly easily. He doesn't have to worry about Thunder Wave. He brings his Mega back in. Aegislash can get relatively free damage out here because Thunderbolt and Rock Slide, like Waddle or Hurt, it should be able to trade back and do more damage. So, not a bad position for it now. He also has the option, if he wants to, just try to go on the offense instead, keep blocking the damage from Landorus. Can probably win that trade too. So, getting that taunt there was probably worth the damage he took back, especially the information about Rock Slide, though. I guess at this point, if Zach didn't lock Landorus into Rock Slide, I'd be a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, you don't change what works, but you do change your Pokemon when they're locked into a move that can't deal any damage. Out comes Jellicent, another Wide Guard. Michael just trying to keep his Pokemon safe. A hidden power from Michael's Thundurus, most likely Ice type, trying to deal damage to that Thundurus. Of course, Jellicent not going to care about that at all. While Zach gets another good damage trade off onto Michael's Thundurus. Pops the Citrus Berry. We'll probably need at least 2 more of those Thunderbolts. Maybe a Thunderbolt and an Ice Beam or a Scald. But deals some good damage, gets the Citrus Berry out of the way, and basically takes nothing in return.
Yeah, excellent read there by Zach. Yeah, he expected the play, but he got there. He figured that Michael would play it exactly how he did, using that Wide Guard to stop Landorus' damage, using Thundurus to try to remove Landorus. It makes sense. Landorus is a pretty important Pokemon for Michael to try to get rid of. Wants to get rid of that Intimidate threat, that superpower threat against his Kangaskhan, so Kangaskhan can start doing some more damage. But he doesn't let that happen. He gets Jellicent back in for free, but now he's not actually in that great a position. Like, he won the turn, but he gave up board position to do it. He doesn't want to take a Thunderbolt or a Shadow Ball from either of these Pokemon. Jellicent often doesn't carry Protect. I don't know if he is this time, so he's probably going to need to switch again and kind of make a read because I can almost guarantee you one of Thunderbolt or Hidden Power is going to come at that slot, right? So he has to switch in the right Pokemon back in.
Switches Jellicent out in favor of Landorus. Back out on the field. Needs to hope that Michael did not read that play coming. Thunderbolt from Thundurus. Correct play from Zach. No damage dealt to his Landorus, while Thunderbolt back from it. Oh, the critical hit is going to pick up the KO onto Michael's Thundurus, while Aegislash going for some damage of its own. Switches into its Blade form, uses the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball will connect with the Landorus, so still getting some damage off. About half of its HP, drops the special defense. Thundurus' taunt wears off this turn too. So really good play from Zach. Managed to predict that correctly.
Yeah, that's a nice position for him too. The big thing with the critical hit, I mean, when you get hit that many times, you're starting to build up the likelihood that maybe this is going to happen, but that was just the wrong turn for it to happen with the taunt expiring here, where it makes this turn much more difficult for Michael here, where he doesn't want to get Thunder Wave on Kangaskhan. He doesn't want to get Aegislash Swagger. Like, both these things would vastly hurt his ability to keep pressuring Zach. So he's going to make a difficult decision here because he could just fake out Wide Guard or something, but he's not going to take any. You're not getting anything from that. You're just wasting your fake out. So he's going to have to try to make a guess here, probably. Zach's been making the better reads so far this game. So if Michael wants to come back here, he's going to have to figure out what Zach's doing here and try to actually gain something from this turn.
Well, we'll see what he decided on. Fake out onto Thundurus, dealing good damage there thanks to Mega Kangaskhan's powers there. Earthquake comes out from the Landorus, though, is going to deal so much damage to both the Kangaskhan and the Aegislash. Will it pick up the one-shot KO? Yes. The Blade form with those paper-thin defense is not able to survive an Earthquake from Landorus. Good damage dealt to Kangaskhan, too, and that hurts for Michael.
Yeah, the Aegislash, who never uses King Shield, was not quite as strong of a tactic that time. I mean, it was a tough position to be in if you're Michael there. I mean, maybe it would have been a little bit better to try to bring out Traken instead, protect King Shield and then Wide Guard, because, like I mentioned before, is in a situation there where because you're in Blade form and you can't just Wide Guard, fake out, that you have to give up something, right? There's the Thunder Wave, which would be very bad, the Swagger would be very bad, or the Earthquake, which was the worst possible thing that could have happened there. Zach got a pretty easy play, and it paid off there. Yeah,
speaking of worst possible things that could happen, Jellicent now switching in against a Terrakion and that Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan now paralyzed, tried to go for the Sucker Punch, but of course, on the switch, there was nothing to Sucker Punch. Rock Slide from Michael, hoping for a little bit of the magic that Zach had earlier. Deals good damage to Thundurus, pops the Citrus Berry, hoping for a flinch on that Jellicent. But unfortunately, Terrakion probably not going to be able to make the plays that Zach was before because it's slower than that Thundurus.
Yeah, it's a tough spot here. Thundurus not going to get flinch. Interesting decision now on Zach's end if you want to go for the paralysis or the burn on Terrakion. Usually you think, I want to get this burn just so I can wear it down. But paralyzing it might be easier. He doesn't have to worry about the flinches anymore. He can easily just start scalding it down. Also, Cursed Body is going to be a big threat for Michael here now. There's no Pokemon to switch out to, so if he gets an important move disabled, he's going to have to deal with it. And both these Pokemon can only hurt Jellicent with one move, so Cursed Body can be a huge problem.
The Thunder Wave from Zach onto Terrakion, going to paralyze it as well. Kangaskhan is fully paralyzed, not going to be able to do anything at all. Terrakion will get off another Rock Slide, probably pick up the KO on Thundurus, get that off the field, and deal a little bit of damage to Jellicent. But Cursed Body on Rock Slide, you were saying it. The one move that Terrakion can use to damage this Jellicent now no longer has it. And Scald from Jellicent coming out onto Terrakion, dealing a lot of damage there, about 50%.
Yeah, and that's going to be really rough here. Now the only way that Zach can do any damage to this Gelatin is with Sucker Punch from Kangaskhan, which at the very least, since both Pokemon are paralyzed, Jellicent has no option but to attack to try to damage them, but I don't know if it's going to be enough here. We got Metagross coming back in.
Jellicent doesn't have to do the attacking. Mega Metagross is back on the field.
Yeah, you can only Sucker Punch one Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
So they can probably both just team up to take out, I guess, either of the Pokemon here, really. Just, there's still Landers in the back with that Intimidate, so very advantageous position for Zach here. He had just the right Pokemon, and Michael, realizing that he doesn't have a great chance of this one,
no win
gentlemanly gives up